Hi, my name is Robert Schieffer, and I'm presenting my research topic through video. How do rubrics influence a student's proficiency in Common Core standards? For some background information, I am a second grade teacher, and I conducted my study with second grade students in my classroom for 2 weeks. Some more background information about rubrics. Rubrics assist in clarifying academic expectations for proficiency. Rubrics help instructors evaluate and target subject-specific areas of student strengths and weaknesses. Student-friendly rubrics, which are rubrics intentionally written to avoid confusing jargon and speak more to grade-level vocabulary, better clarify what is expected of students in terms that are more understandable than the generic curriculum rubric. Furthermore, having students clarify what quality writing means and the individual traits that encompass quality writing, these students can better internalize high academic expectations. These students review quality work and come up with their own success criteria in their own language. Rubrics help students articulate teacher expectations, and finally, rubrics assist students in organizing their thoughts to responses, specifically with English language learners. The purpose of this study was to give students a foundation for writing informational texts. Now, this relates to my wonderings about whether there is a correlation between a student's understanding of what is expected of him or her and his or her ability to achieve a score that is deemed proficient, regardless of the content area. The design of this experiment. The way the data was collected through this research project was the students were first given a writing pretest. This writing pretest was an informative paragraph about the process of erosion. Students gained knowledge to write this topic from an article that came from readworks.com. This pretest set a foundation from which further student achievement could be measured. Student proficiency was determined quantitatively through the Harupa Unified School District writing rubric for second graders. Participants from the experimental group included 4 boys and 4 girls, while the control group included 3 boys and 5 girls. All students were second grade students in the Harupa Unified School District. The data was collected quantitatively. A baseline score was taken from the pre-test mentioned earlier, and those results were compared to a post-test that was given a week after. Data analysis. The district-wide rubric is seen below. The success criteria are included below. My topic sentence clearly states what I'm going to write about. I included 3 good main ideas that support my topic. My detail sentences support my main ideas. I use transition words such as first, next, and last, and circled them. My concluding sentence restates my topic without adding more details. And finally, my sentences are not too short. I have at least 8 or more words in each sentence. The experimental group was given an altered student-friendly rubric that they created themselves after reviewing exemplars and poor examples of writing. Students in the control group were not given a rubric. Results. As I just mentioned, students from the experimental group reviewed exemplary work and identified indicators of quality writing. A new student rubric that was written in student-friendly language was generated based on what they noticed from the exemplary work. In addition, students applied the same technique to poor quality writing and identified what was lacking in these examples. Based on what they reviewed, they came up with new success criteria as follows. They were also written in student-friendly language, starting with sentence frames like I or my partner. For example, I start with a green sentence. The green sentence tells the reader what the entire paragraph will be about, main idea. I have 3 yellow sentences. The yellow sentences give supporting details about the green sentence or main idea. I have at least 1 red sentence after each yellow sentence. The red sentence explains or gives more information about the yellow sentence that came right before. I end the paragraph telling the reader his or her opinion about the main idea. This is the last green sentence. Finally, I have a transition word that starts each yellow sentence. If students were able to meet each of these success criteria, they could also go for 2 bonus success criteria. I have more than one red sentence for every yellow sentence, and finally, every red sentence I wrote has 8 or more words. Compared to the previous rubric, this rubric aligns with instructional data from the Step Up to Writing program. For example, the color-coordinated sentences, the green topic and concluding sentences, the yellow main idea or fact sentences, and the red further developing sentences. Another aspect that the experimental group underwent was peer review. Students from this group reviewed and applied the success criteria that they created to identify strengths and weaknesses in a partner's writing from that same group. Their partner then created a writing goal for the final draft. So students had a goal going into their final draft in the experimental group. Once again, the control group was just asked to write a brainstorming session, a graphic organizer, a rough draft, and a final draft, and were given no feedback and no student-friendly rubric or second grade curriculum rubric. The control group scored 4 students in the emerging or lowest category, 2 students in the approaching category, and 2 students in the proficient category. After the post-assessment was graded, there were 2 students scored in the emerging, 2 scored in the approaching, and 4 scored proficiently. For the experimental group, for the pre-test, 5 students scored emerging, no students scored approaching, 2 students scored proficient, and only 1 student scored above proficient or advanced. The results of the post-test yielded no students scoring in the emerging category, 2 students moving from the emerging category to the approaching category, 5 students reaching the proficient category, and 1 student staying in the all results. The differences in scores from both the control and experimental group are shown here. 2 student scores from the control group decreased compared to their pre-assessment. In terms of staying the same, 2 student scores from the control group and 3 student scores from the experimental group stayed the same. And an increase was seen in the control group in a total of 4 and a total of 5 from the experimental group after the post-test. Learning statement number 1. When the success criteria of rubrics is written in student-friendly language, students are able to set goals for themselves. Learning statement 2. The process of peer review reinforces knowledge of the success criteria and thus knowledge of the standard being assessed. Finally, targeted instruction based on formative assessment data benefits all students. Going back to this graph, all students benefited from targeted instruction. The results from the pre-test indicated lacking instances that needed to be addressed. Once these were addressed, many scores were improved regardless of giving a rubric. However, the students with the rubrics scored on average higher than the students without the rubric. 75% of students given the instructional student-friendly rubric were able to increase their score at a proficient or above. Final thoughts. I would like to continue developing student-friendly rubrics throughout the year and in areas other than writing. I wonder if creating success criteria for solving word problems in math will benefit student understanding in the way it is done with writing in my class. I wonder if the concept of peer review can lend itself to concepts and procedures like lining up to go to recess or checking out a book from the library. Using student-friendly rubrics and peer review further involves students in the assessment process, which is taking up more and more of the school day. The more students are involved, the more they will care and be in tune with their own education. Thank you for watching.